A cold case that took place almost over 20 years ago in Miramar, Florida. It's a South Florida area involving this 15-year-old girl and her mother and sisters come home, her younger sisters. She was 15 at the time. This was May 22nd, 2002. They come home to a gruesome scene. And there really hasn't been much all these years until today. I believe the way they tracked them down is because back then in 2002, when the incident happened, which we're about to talk about, there was blood left behind because she put up a fight. Farrah Carter, 15 at the time, put up a fight, and they put the blood into the national database. And now this guy was found. There's going to be a big announcement tomorrow at the Miramar Police Department.
If your family is lucky, you have a Farrah.
She was like the glue to the family. She always had something to tell you. She had always wanted to do something. She was always talking about the future.
But 15-year-old Farrah Carter never got to enjoy her future, and Farrah's family never got to watch her turn into a young woman.
It's like a nightmare I feel like I never fully awakened.
Kim's nightmare began 7 years ago when Farrah's life came crashing to an end.
This was a very pretty young girl who was brutally slain. It was a horrendous scene.
Kim had called Miramar Police after she opened the front door and her younger child looked in.
The baby girl looked down and she said, "Mommy, you didn't leave your house like this." And I looked down, that's blood. I told him, "Get out, get out."
When police arrived, they found the blood stains beginning in the living room, a trail of blood through the house, ending with Farrah's body in her bedroom.
Farrah had presented a tremendous fight in this event. She was a tough young girl that put up a valiant effort, about a good fight.
A young teenager viciously stabbed, brutally murdered while fighting to try to stay alive.
This was definitely a rage killing because of the way that she was stabbed, the way she was cut up. And it was terrible. And like I said, just to know how she suffered is tough. It's real tough.
With no signs of a break-in, detectives think Farrah might have known her attacker. The family wonders why someone who...
So no signs of a break-in, just in case you guys didn't catch it. And she put up a fight, and that's probably why, it says the attacker had been cut and left blood behind at the scene.
Knew her would do this to her.
That's what I feel. She was silenced from saying something, telling something, knowing something.
Like many teenagers, Farrah was going through a rebellious stage. She had run away from home a couple of times and had a boyfriend that her family wasn't real fond of. Detectives questioned him and everyone else who knew her.
And interesting, I wonder about that boyfriend. I was talking to Silvio, by the way. He sent me all these articles and stuff. I'm really curious, and we're definitely going to be tuning in tomorrow to see who they announce.
No suspects popped up, but one piece of evidence was left behind. In the fight with Farrah, the killer was cut. Blood was left behind.
It's already been entered into the CODIS system, which is a national database for DNA.
The DNA may point the finger at the killer and may help ease a father's nightmare.
I wasn't there for it, so it's like, ask yourself that question. Why couldn't I have walked in the door when this was happening? It just plays over and over and over in your mind.
The killer is out there. Kim would love to face them.
Words can't describe how empty and angry, just so many emotions, even today.
The killer is free. Detective Gano would love to be able to lock him up.
I do stay in touch with the family, talking to them, but the effect to those surrounding her continues to this day, and I would desperately hope that they can get the closure that's necessary.
The killer is alive. A 15-year-old girl is dead.
What we've been through, if I hated someone, I wouldn't wish this on them. So if anybody out there knows anything, I'm saying it would be greatly appreciated by the family. I'm saying it would help us a lot to know, that we can finally put her to rest.
If you have any information about the murder of Farrah Carter, even if you think it's insignificant, give Broward Crime Stoppers a call at this.
So this was an old clip. They gave a little bit of backstory. I was talking to Sylvia about this too, and I have some more clips to show you. But I was talking to Sylvia about this, and I was like, I wonder what this guy did to finally be identified. I guess he had no blood in the system before. What did he do that they were now finally, after almost 20 years, able to get a DNA match and arrest And also, I mean, all these years, almost 20 years, a killer just walking around. Does he have kids? Does he have a family that, like, you know, a girlfriend, a wife? Did he have children? He, by this time, probably thought there was no way in the world this was ever going to come back for him. You know, horrible and tragic in that it took so long. Now, let me play some clips from the friend. Now, I want to put the link in the description below. I think you should go check out her video. You know, I don't know how much, you know, I could use her video, so I'm just going to put two small portions where she describes being on the phone.
And another thing that bothers me about her murder is that I was on the phone with her minutes before, not even minutes, seconds before she got in the last fight of her life, you know, and was murdered. I was on the phone with her. I heard her arguing. I heard her arguing with this person. I heard the person talk and say, open this door. And Farrah, she was known to fight. She would fight in the drop of a hat. She did not care. She was a fighter. Farrah was a fighter, okay?
And also that she called the tip line, and, you know, police didn't talk to her until after an extended period of time had passed where her memory wasn't even all that well from the incident.
I called the tip line twice, and I told them, hey, I'm Farrahs Friend. I was on the phone with her. Why didn't anyone contact me? Because they're just now 12 years later looking at phone records. Like, I wish they would have came and talked to me when it was fresh on my mind.
A couple of little tidbits of information while I was reading before we get into her sister Jasmine, which she spoke to Local 10. So on May 22nd, this is when the murder occurred, 2002. That morning, Farrah was seen at a McDonald's near her home. So I just wonder, you know, what was going on. Later on that day, that's when her mother and sisters walked in to the residence, and it was a bloody scene. Another bit of information that I read is that she used to go to Hallandale Adult Community Center, which I actually used to go there when I first came to Florida. And so, yeah, let's check out the sister.
It
Local
was May
10.
2002. 15-year-old Farrah Carter was stabbed to death in her Miramar home.
Her two younger sisters found her along with her mother. And I always try to think, like, how could they process that? You know, walking into and seeing your big sister murdered inside of the house.
Jasmine Carter was 10 at the time.
She's a daddy's girl, and I was a daddy's girl growing up. So we had that bond, that connection.
Miramar Police now say they have made an arrest and will release details Tuesday.
I don't know what could a 15-year-old do to piss you off that bad that you would actually kill her like that. Like, it was a passionate crime.
Farrah put up a fight, says her sister.
Even at the funeral, it was open casket, but they had to put something around her neck. Like, it was that bad.
Jasmine misses Farrah every day.
I love and I miss her every day.
But at least now there's closure.
Finally. It's been a long time coming.
Now, this portion here of the video, the very last part of it from Local 10, it's really interesting because I was talking to Silvio and he called me, and, shout out to him. Thank you for telling me. At the end of this clip, they say from their local sources that this guy was already in custody. So maybe, is that a thing? Do you guys know? Like, is that a thing where if somebody gets arrested or they're in prison, I don't know if just going to jail, they're going to take your blood, but maybe he went to prison? Check it out.
A long time, since 2002. What we understand from our sources is that the suspect in this case was already behind bars, but once again, we're going to hear from the victim in this case was already behind bars, but once again, we're going to hear from the victim's family tomorrow, the victim's mom, and hear from detectives, and we'll be here. We're live in Miramar.
So we'll definitely be following up on this story. I'm going to leave this video at that because I wanted to squeeze it in tonight. Tomorrow, Tuesday, they're going to be having a press conference. The mother and family, they're going to talk, maybe the detectives, as they said. And I mean, it's amazing that, and I'm glad that this guy is caught and behind bars. crazy that it took all this time. Maybe he was really careful, and I'm curious what's the deal with this person, and maybe I'm sure they're going to announce who he is. You know, did he have a family? Is he married? What kind of job did he have? What did he do to put himself behind bars again, right? Like what, did he commit something where it was so heinous that they took his blood sample, or I don't know how that stuff works. But yeah, thank you guys so much for the support. I appreciate you. Love you guys. Take care of yourself. Be safe and peace.